about your life right now. How much energy do you spend either resisting what's happening in your life or clinging on really tight to what you might be afraid to lose? Maybe you're pushing back against a job that you don't like, or maybe a body that you wish looked different, or a situation that you think shouldn't exist, or maybe you're holding on to or grasping onto something that feels really good and pleasant, maybe a particular relationship or some type of achievements or moments of happiness. Or maybe you're even terrified that those things might slip away. And then there's this indifference, maybe that this sort of it's not a peaceful indifference that comes with acceptance, but instead it's sort of like this dismissive type of thing where you stop noticing or caring about what's happening, assuming, it doesn't matter, it's always going to stay the same. So if any of these resonate with you, you're not alone. These patterns of resisting what is, clinging to what is, or just being indifferent are so common, and they point to something a lot deeper about how we relate to life itself. So stay tuned to discover exactly how. Hey there, yogis and yoginis. I'm Lisa Witter, and welcome to my channel where we explore how to live a Tantra-informed life by bridging the classical teachings of non-dual Tantra with the realities of modern living. So today we're going to be diving into what's known as the second act of the divine, maintenance. But before we get started and dive into that, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet, because I post new videos like this one regularly to help you live a life that has more freedom and fulfillment and joy. All right, so let's explore this together. These patterns of resistance and clinging and indifference, they're really actually not random. They reveal something very profound about the way that we tend to interact with the flow of life. And in the teachings of non-dual Tantra, they're directly tied to this second act of the divine, maintenance. So maintenance is this divine process that sustains all of manifestation, and it holds things together for, as long as they're meant to last. And it's the energy that keeps life in motion. It's the force that preserves relationships, it preserves circumstances, it even preserves the seasons of our lives. But here's the thing, when we don't see maintenance, this act of maintenance, as part of a larger sacred process, we end up relating to it in ways that can create tension in our lives. And this is something that I see all the time with the clients and students that I work with. Resistance and clinging and indifference are all ways that we struggle with what is being maintained in our lives. So let's go ahead and break this down a little bit further to understand how these patterns really show up in life and what each of them can teach us. So when we don't realize that maintenance is part of a sacred process, what happens is we can find ourselves either resisting what is, making us feel frustrated, really frustrated or angry or even depressed, or we can find ourselves clinging to what is, which causes us to feel anxious and overwhelmed. Or the third option, we can become indifferent. So we get bored with what's happening in our life. So I invite you for a moment just to reflect on this. Where might you be resisting what is in your life? Maybe it's a relationship or just the phase of life that you're in right now, or even a part of yourself that feels hard to accept. All right, so that's the first one. The second one is, where might you be clinging to what is, holding on tightly to a sense of security or a moment of happiness, afraid that something might just slip through your fingers? Okay, and then there's the third one, and the third one is, where might you notice indifference? Maybe there's something that you've just started to overlook in your life, something that you've stopped really appreciating and just assuming, it's always going to be there. So, you just sort of get bored with it. Now, let's look at why this is important. It's important because the act of maintenance, the second act of the divine, it invites us to recognize the truth of impermanence, which is a cornerstone of living a tantric informed life. When we're in resistance, life feels stuck. We start to believe that things are never going to change. They're always going to be like this. Oh my God, I'm always broke. Oh my God, this is just how it's always been. Those are the thoughts that run through our head. Resistance really locks us into this false sense of permanence, making it very hard to see how things are always in flux. Things are always changing. Right? Now, when we're clinging, which is the opposite, we feel the inevitability of impermanence and we fight against it. So there's a fear of loss, whether it's the loss of a relationship or our success fading or our security slipping away. So clinging is a way of resisting the natural pattern of reality and holding on to those things that are bound to change. And then there's, of course, that third one, again, indifference, which is this blindness to the sacredness of what's happening right now. And it's sort of like it's rooted in boredom and sometimes this entitlement, right? We can overlook relationships and the blessings in our lives. We can dismiss things as unimportant until we lose them. So the truth is that nothing lasts forever. Everything that's being maintained in your life right now, whether it feels joyful or challenging or mundane, it's all part of this sacred cycle of creation and maintenance and dissolution. And when you deeply understand this, it changes how you show up in life, how you show up for yourself and others. So instead of resisting things, you start to accept what is. Instead of clinging to things, you begin to appreciate what you have right now, knowing that it's not going to last forever. And instead of being indifferent, right, maybe you start to feel a little more gratitude and presence for the ordinary miracles that make up your life. Living a Tantra-informed life means recognizing the sacredness of what's happening in every single moment, seeing the divine act of maintenance at work in your life. It's about embracing the truth of impermanence, right? And meeting life and meeting life's flow, really, with presence and with gratitude. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new one. And I would absolutely love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. I always do respond to comments, share your thoughts. I'd love to hear those as well. And until next time, may you live each moment with the wisdom and wonder of Tantra. Thank you. Namaste.